Testing. Alright, looks like the mic works. The signal is calling. Our planet is falling. The danger will test you. Better make it Lightspeed Rescue. Hello, Wolfpack. Your favorite ranger cat is back, doing a surprise tier list because apparently I did have time this week. I'm waiting on a partner on a crossover we're doing and planning out some future reviews, but I thought I'd kill some time talking about a show that was my childhood, and one of my all-time favorite Power Ranger shows, Lightspeed Rescue. Yep, we're actually doing this. We're going to be finally talking about Power Rangers in full detail on our channel for the first time ever, starting with one of my favorite series from the Power Rangers, I believe post-Zordon era. Lightspeed Rescue, yeah, really kicks ass. The signal is calling for this list. Unexpected for you to start this one when it comes to Power Rangers. Hey, Shadowlink, glad you made it. Yeah, I love Lightspeed Rescue. This is not my number one favorite Power Rangers show, but it is in the top 5. Lightspeed Rescue, I love. I am, as you know, if you're familiar with my channel, I'm an avid horror fan, and this has the Power Rangers fighting demons from hell. That is awesome. That is radical. That is Ranger radical. The Power Rangers are fighting demons from hell. And yeah, they do give them alternate names. They don't say hell, but come on, it is hell. Queen Banshira is quite literally Girl Satan. Power Rangers fighting demons from hell. This helped me form my love for horror because the Power Rangers basically fighting monsters that escape from the underworld is a really kick-ass concept. And the Lightspeed Rescue Rangers have my favorite Red Ranger and my favorite Sixth Ranger, Carter and Ryan. They are easily my favorite Rangers ever in this show. But yeah, Lightspeed Rescue, who doesn't like the Power Rangers fighting demons? For those of you who don't know, Lightspeed Rescue is one of the early 2000s Power Ranger shows. This was when they were trying to find new ground and experiment with new Ranger gimmicks after the Zordon era came to an end. And Lightspeed Rescue, I thought, was a pretty great step. It is its own original series, its own season story arc. It's not like you don't have to, follow the show from the beginning to end. You can hop in at any time by this point, and Lightspeed Rescue was easily its own thing, but, a part of the Ranger universe. What made this series more interesting is that the Rangers are actually helped by the military, as before the military never helped the other Rangers when monsters attack. Right, the Rescue Rangers are actually real superheroes. They are rescue workers who get basically recruited by the military. The government actually funds this Power Rangers. This is the first time the government actually backs up the Power Rangers. The military, led by Captain Mitchell here, recruit a bunch of rescue workers to be Power Rangers, not to just fight bad guys, but to save lives. They're rescue heroes. Carter's a firefighter, Chad's a whale biologist, Joel's an Air Force pilot, and Dana is a combat medic. These are actual heroes who become recruited for Power Rangers. They care about saving people, care about helping others, and fighting demons from hell on the side. Have you ever thought about reviewing these seasons? Giving a whole seasonal review, I have definitely, but other people have talked about them. Namely, Linkara's History of the Power Rangers, which does a very great job going into thorough detail on the shows. So, as much as I love Power Rangers, I would do seasonal reviews, but other people beat me to the punch and did a way better job. Linkara did a reference to the military. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue, kick-ass season, underrated. Yeah, it's not as good as Time Force, or Dino Thunder, but let's face it, those are S tiers. I think it's an S tier show, but it pales in comparison to, Tommy coming back and the epicness that is Time Force. But Lightspeed Rescue has this place in my heart, and it's why we're talking about it today. I'm going to be doing a character tier list on all the Lightspeed Rescue Rangers and their villains. So, I did not make this list. This was actually a monster ranking list, but I added the Lightspeed Rescue heroes because, there's only like a handful of them. Might as well do the whole cast. But yeah, love Lightspeed Rescue, and if you're new here, this is a tier list. We rank them from best to worst. So, this is how it goes. S tier, they're awesome. They're perfect. They are Power Ranger royalty. They are icons. They are the best of this show and possibly the best in Power Rangers history. They're Hall of Famers good. Then we have A, awesome, good, definitely decent. These ones are definitely good characters. They are entertaining. They are a true strength to Lightspeed Rescue, but not as strong as the 10 out of 10 characters, we'll just say. Then we have B. These are basic. They're average. They're okay. Have their good moments, but also have some negatives. They're decent characters, but you do have criticisms with them. Then down here we have C. These are below average. They're weak. They're duds. There was hope for them, but yeah, fell a bit short. They're definitely just below average. They're not as good. Then we have D. These are duds. They're weak. They're the forgettable ones, the worst entries. We do not have an F this time. Yeah, I know, surprising, right? But I love Lightspeed Rescue so much, so I don't really think there's a god-awful character in this, but depending on who you ask, there might be some down here. D, definitely not the best, the ones you will forget in like a week. Basically, a lot of the average monster of the weeks might be under here, but we'll see as we go on. Still find it funny that the first episode they fight Psycho Red's monster form. Yep. Yeah, it had a different name, but still funny. Yeah, Psycho Red's monster's up here. No, this is not Psycho Red from In Space. They recycled the suit because Power Rangers was low budget, especially in the America versions. They recycled a lot of the Super Sentai or old show outfits. Okay, so as you can see, we got every character on here, including some monsters of the week, so hopefully this list will be pretty short. But let's start with the one you all came to see, the leader, the ultimate Red Ranger, Carter Grayson. Red Ranger, Lightspeed ready. He's going on S tier. Of course he is. Of course he is. It's the Red Ranger. Not just the Red Ranger, but the best Red Ranger of all time, Carter Grayson, the hero of Lightspeed Rescue, and my favorite Red Ranger. Carter is awesome. Of course, he's one of my favorites. If I ever do a top 10 Red Rangers, he might be in at least the top 2. Yeah, that's how good he is. I know who deserves to be S-ranked, Diabolical, as he changed from a villain to a reformed one. Yeah, I saw you misspelled villainous. We'll talk about Diabolical. I mean, we're going to talk about everyone, but yeah. Let's start with Red Ranger, Carter Grayson. He rocks. Carter Grayson, not afraid of shooting, always thinking with his blasters, always shooting giant monsters, and is always a daredevil and badass. If you don't know, Carter Grayson is the professional firefighter. He's recruited because he actually saves lives. He's a firefighter, I believe a leader in his squad, and basically that's what Captain Mitchell sought in him. He's a rescue hero. Carter is a born leader. He leads his team. The Rangers are much more militaristic in this version. The Rangers are total soldiers, and Carter is a rescue hero who cares about the little people, which made him perfect as the Red Ranger. He gets the Red Morpher. He has a lot of episodes focused on him, and Carter Grayson is up here because he's a badass. He is a badass. He's always thinking with his blasters, doing the right thing, running into fire, not caring if he gets hurt, willing to sacrifice himself for even innocent civilians, cares about his team, a true father amongst his Rangers. Who doesn't love Carter? The actor who played him apparently got a lot of flack when the show first aired because they thought Carter's actor was pretty weak, but as time went on, a lot of people grew to like him. I've always liked Carter since I saw him when I was in diapers. But yeah, Carter, he's awesome, man. Who doesn't love the Red Ranger? He helps kill a lot of bad guys in this show. Carter is usually the one that first raises that Lightspeed punch. Sorry, just catch up on my comments. Yeah, Carter, Red Ranger, of course he's going into S tier. He gets the most badass fight scenes. He's the born leader. He's the one who keeps his fellow Rangers here, of varying degree, very humble, down to earth, is the guy they all look up to. It's implied he and Dana, the Pink Ranger, might have had a relationship. We see them like in a memory that they were on a date once, but spoilers, not explored, and I do think Wes and Jen's Ranger romance was a lot better than theirs. Yeah, Carter, his best scene easily fighting the Queen Banshira. They fight in her temple, trying to close the portal to hell. Carter is actually willing to sacrifice himself when Queen Banshira tries dragging him down with her. But yeah, we all know Diabolico comes up and saves the day. Carter, honestly, he's awesome, man. He is a born Ranger. Everybody loves him. He's the tough guy. He's the Optimus Prime of the team. Red Ranger, easily an S tier. Carter Grayson, love him. Alright, so I guess we should also do a bad guy. We'll go bad guy and hero, because we got a lot of monsters down here. Alright, let's talk about Diabolico, who's, of course, going into S tier. Diabolical, the fake-out villain who turns out to be a noble demon with good in him. Diabolical is initially believed to be our main antagonist. After some foolish explorers opened this ancient Egyptian temple, it was secretly housing a portal to hell, and that unleashes the demons, led by Diabolico, who is the general basically trying to conquer Mariner Bay in order to rebuild the palace of the real villain, Queen Banshira. And for the longest time, Diabolical is in charge for at least half the series before he gets killed and then resurrected later. He did say Ryan. Yeah, Ryan's on here. I might have missaid the names, but anyway, yeah. Diabolical, he also saved Ryan and led to the whole mystery of the Titanium Ranger arc. Diabolical, we at first believe is this evil, irredeemable bad guy, but over the course of the series, they lay hints that he's not as bad as his superiors. He saves Ryan Mitchell when he was a boy, but Captain Mitchell got into a car accident, almost lost his kids, but Diabolical promises to save his boy, but in return his soul will belong to him, where Captain Mitchell made a deal with the devil, and he got his hands on Ryan and turned him into the corrupt Titanium Ranger before he turns good later. Yeah, we get hints. Diabolical is actually best friends with Loki and Vipra, which is very interesting to see. He did not abuse them like most Ranger villain bosses do. Over the course of the series, he gets treated badly by the real villain, Queen Banshira. He slowly learns and puts together that Queen Banshira does not care about her test subjects at all. They are nothing but expendable pawns to her. And after the death of both Vipra and then being forced to shoot his best friend Loki, Diabolical has a change of heart and realizes that the Queen is an evil bitch who doesn't even care about her own loyal followers. Diabolical was by far my favorite villain in Lightspeed Rescue. Loved his voice, very powerful, and do love his bit of redemption at the end of the series after he saw Banshira's true colors. Yeah, for the longest time, the demons worship Queen Banshira, believing she'll make a demon's paradise for them, follow her every command, but it becomes very clear that Queen Banshira takes her troops for complete granted. They are nothing but pawns to her. She does not care about their lives, and being forced to shoot Loki while Queen Banshira completely writes it off is what triggers his redemption arc. Diabolical also has this rivalry with Olympius down here. He's the Queen's son, and they sort of have a Starscream Shockwave dynamic. They try to compete who's the better second in command. Olympius is a spoiled brat, while Diabolical is a no-nonsense chess master schemer type of villain, and that puts them at odds when they both fight over the star power. Hi, Cat. Hey, Akira, glad you made it. So, Diabolical unfortunately gets forced by Olympius to be his brainwashed puppet. They fight the Rangers in the final arc one last time. Diabolical dies, and we don't see him again until the finale, where they fight Queen Banshira. Queen Banshira opens the portal to hell. The Rangers, of course, fight and eventually foil her, but Queen Banshira tries to take the Red Ranger out with him, with her basically dragging him down. They're almost being sucked into hell, and then we get the best Diabolical moment. His spirit shows up. Diabolico, so glad you showed up to help. I am here to help. Help the Rangers destroy you once and for all. No! And she and he shoots the bitch dead. She goes plummeting down to the bowels of hell thanks to Diabolical, and her own abused, pissed off subjects rip the queen to friggin' shreds, beat her to death, rip her apart, and I think eat her. Diabolical gets the last laugh and gets revenge on the evil boss. Yep, awesome moment, and that pretty much sealed Diabolical as a legendary villain amongst us Power Ranger fans, so he actually proved that demons could be good, and he has a very nice redemption arc. Basically everything people were hoping Ecliptor would have gotten in space, where he's a noble demon with a heart, and people were hoping Ecliptor would have redeemed himself, but that didn't happen. Diabolico kind of made up for that. He was a demon who had good moments, and ended up being the ultimate savior of Lightspeed Rescue, where he and Red Ranger take out that evil bitch once and for all. So of course, Diabolical is S tier. So Lightspeed Rescue, since the track is a bop, yeah, I love the theme song, but my favorite theme song is easily Lost Galaxy's theme. So, Queen Banshir's What If Sindel has a final form? Yeah, kind of, except Sindel had redeeming moments. Also finished art history test 2. Good job, Akira. Glad you can make it. Alright, so let's knock off a generic monster of the week. We'll take out not Psycho Red. He's going into D. So, forgive me if I forget some of these one-shot villains, but that's the problem. A lot of them are one-shot villains, and this guy is the first one. He's the warm-up boss fight for Lightspeed Rescue. Yes, they did reuse Psycho Red's monster form because they were low budget. Okay, this is basically the first guy the Rangers fight. He's a generic demon going on a rampage, and the Rangers use teamwork for the very first time to basically blow him up. And spoilers, he does not even get a giant monster fight, which is why he's dropped down to D. The Rangers basically punk kill him very easily. Actually, Psycho Red would be S, but since he's not here, yeah, he belongs in D. Yeah, basically, they just reused Psycho Red's monster outfit for him. Yeah, it is kind of cheap and lazy, but what are you gonna do? So yeah, basically, he's the first boss fight. They just laser him to death when they use teamwork for the first time, and Lightspeed Rescue take him out. They think he's Diabolical, but spoilers, he's not. The real Diabolical shows up later. Alright, let's do another Ranger. Alright, let's do the Blue Ranger, Chad. Alright, so, might upset some people. Chad going into A. Yeah, this isn't exactly my favorite Blue Ranger of all time. I liked Kai, I like Lucas, I like TJ back on In Space. Chad, definitely a decent character. He does have interesting moments. He does have that fun romance with a mermaid. Chad is a martial artist who became a SeaWorld performer. He's technically like a whale biologist. He studies the ocean. He's doing tricks at SeaWorld. He's recruited by Captain Mitchell to be the Blue Ranger because Teehee, ocean worker, and blue, it just goes together. Chad basically is a martial artist, and he gets a few episodes that do spotlight him. He's a warrior who uses his martial arts for good. He has control over his emotions, tranquility, and tries to basically teach Kelsey to control herself because she's easily excitable. Yeah, Chad didn't do much for me. He's just okay. Yeah, fully agree. Chad kind of pales in comparison to way better Blue Rangers. I did like his romance with the mermaid. That was kind of fun. Like Psycho Red, mostly the inspiration of the Red Keeper, which is anime evil Power Rangers clone. Yeah, Chad Lee is the marine biologist. So Chad Lee met Ariel. Yeah, the fun fact, apparently the mermaid Chad falls in love with is the actress who played Psycho Yellow from In Space. That's what apparently she actually looks like without, you know, all the metal ranger armor on. Yeah, Psycho Yellow plays the mermaid Chad romances. I find him okay. His major episodes, basically his romance with a mermaid, there are two of them, where Chad has this kind of star-crossed lovers tragic romance because they can't be together since, you know, she's a mermaid and he's a man. And I believe he also had an episode where his martial arts sensei comes, and his sensei does not like that he uses his martial arts to become a Power Ranger. His sensei's disappointed, believes he's wasting his great gifts and using them for violence, but the sensei is duped by an evil monster into being his student, where the sensei realizes his mistake because the monster betrays him after mastering martial arts, and Chad shows that he's the way better student because he uses his martial arts for good and defeats the evil Cyclops guy down here. Yeah, Chad, I think he's an alright Blue Ranger. He's not one of my favorites, but let's be real, he is totally outclassed by better Blues. Like, I wish that it was Ariel from Disney's Princess. Well, she kind of is. Her dad's also Trident. We do meet her dad, Trident, who wants to pass the king rule onto her. Unfortunately, it went nowhere. Yeah, Michael Chaturanta, but sorry if I butchered that. He was Kung Lao from NK Conquest. Yeah, Michael was actually a real martial artist, and that did reflect in his Blue Ranger performance, which is why I do give him points, because he actually did know how to fight and actually did his own fight scenes without the Ranger armor. And yeah, that was kind of impressive. I'll give the actor credit. We'll put him on A, but nothing above. While we're on the topic, the Cyclops, voiced by Richard Epcar from Mortal Kombat. You know, I actually might put him on B because Richard Epcar uses his MK voice. He sounds kind of like Goro, which made him really funny. This guy is another one-shot villain. He's the monster that Chad's sensei is duped into teaching. Basically, he's this big buff who likes to punch everything and fight. He's the best fighter ever. Richard Epcar surprisingly voices this character, and it's pretty funny, too. Well, here I am, once again. Not sure what to say. I can't think of what to say. Hey, just some random guy who comments. So, Disney times Power Rangers crossover theory in the past before it was debunked. Yeah, because Disney owned Power Rangers for a time. The Cyclops was a decent one-off villain. Yeah, basically this guy likes to fight, he's over the top, he's like a wrestler in personality. Richard Epcar really sold this guy's acting, so it made him a lot more memorable. Basically, he dupes Chad Sensei into teaching him, then, of course, betrays him and uses his power for evil. He's like hucking cars at buildings. Really intense stuff, honestly. And then Chad comes in and uses his martial arts for good and defeats the Cyclops. Giant monster fight where Chad actually gets to pilot the Megazord for once, and they use Megazord martial arts to beat him all over again, and yeah, that's kind of the formula for a lot of these. I think he's fine. We'll put him on B. Alright, let's talk about a villain. We gotta talk about the other villain, Olympius. And this might surprise you, but Olympius, formerly Impus, actually gone into S tier. Yeah, I really liked Olympius. He was always my favorite. I did like him more than Diabolico, mostly because he's a cool dragon type of warrior. This is originally Impus. This is the son of Queen Banshira. Basically one of the demons who escapes. Diabolico and Jinx are taking care of him, and he's destined to grow up and take Diabolico's place as the Queen's loyal second in command. Diabolico really hates that idea, and he was kind of right because Impus grows up into Olympius. After Diabolico dies, don't worry, he got better later. Diabolical loses his powers, and the star powers goes to Impus, originally a baby, who uses the star power to mutate into this badass dragon warrior. Hey, Light Jones, yeah, we're doing Power Rangers. Fun fact, Bob Peppenbrook is Bryce Peppenbrook's father, who was in Power Rangers as Rita Repulsa. Hey, Light Jones. So Adrian loses his dad in cartoon. Yeah. Okay, Olympius, I actually really liked him. This guy is basically the anti-Diabolico. He's a reckless, immature, spoiled brat, wielding powers, basically better than Diabolico. However, there is a cost because his plans don't always work out. And I really like Olympius because he's a much more hands-on type of villain than Diabolico was. Olympius absolutely has it out for the Red Ranger and Diabolico. He wants to prove himself to his mother. Basically, he's a total mama's boy doing all this evil for her. It's all in his mom, Queen Banshira's great name. He's trying to prove to her that he's actually just as competent as her and worthy to be the second in command, and getting at odds with Diabolico especially, and he absolutely has this very great rivalry with Carter because he's the first demon that proves a threat to Carter. Many didn't care for Olympius, but I honestly liked him. He's basically a ruthless knight to his queen, and wasn't afraid to get his hands dirty during many encounters. Totally agree, Shadowlink. I think Olympius is really underrated as a villain. He's basically the Starscream to Diabolical's, I guess, Shockwave and Megatron, technically. This guy, a lot more hands-on approach as a villain, really wants the Rangers absolutely dead, and he basically abuses the star power. It goes on to him after Diabolico dies, and it takes a lot out of him, but he does not care because he wants the Rangers dead, and that's what makes him scary. He's out to kill the Rangers, especially Carter, a lot more effective than Diabolico. He is on the front lines. Diabolico was more of a schemer sitting in the throne room. Olympius, full-on knight. He is hunting the Rangers down. He is straight on the battlefield. He gets his hands involved, and what sealed him on S is actually he betrays Trakina. I do love he and Trakina from Lost Galaxy work together, and we find out Olympius was using her the entire time. Be careful what you wish for, Trakina. And he actually dupes and backstabs the greatest Lost Galaxy villain. Really epic moment. So Power Rangers meet Greek and Norse gods. They kinda do. They meet pretty much every deity except Christianity and Islam. Like if the Power Rangers never ended, I want to see Power Rangers meet Egyptian myth and sexy cat goddess Bastet as an ally. Well, Dr. Cat is kind of the sexy cat girl ranger, so I do like her. Anyways, Olympius, really like him as a villain. He basically takes over, but then when Diabolico gets resurrected back via satanic ritual, basically his spot as the favorite is kind of threatened, making him get a lot more, crazier, getting more risky, doing a lot more insane schemes to kill the Power Rangers. Eventually, he's trapped in hell, thanks to Diabolical's betrayal and the Rangers beating his demon army idea. However, he escapes thanks to Jinxer and recovers after his beating, only to show up in the finale. He gets his revenge against Diabolico by brainwashing him into being his puppet soldier. Then we have his final fight with the Rangers, and eventually Olympius does die, but becomes a giant great dragon with Diabolico in a giant Megazord fight, and yeah, it is really awesome. It is like the most intense giant Megazord fight ever, and they gave Olympius a really cool dragon form. He kind of looks like a red version of the Blue Eyes White Dragon. It is pretty badass. I had a Power Rangers season where the Rangers were vampires and the villains were vampire hunters and humans too. I've seen fan art of that. So Power Rangers SBD does have Egyptian myth with Anubis Kruger and Cat, which is Bastet, but no Ra. SBD was kind of doing its own thing. Anyways, Olympius eventually dies, and honestly, it makes me very sad because all he ever wanted to do was impress his evil mother, but she did not give a crap about him, which makes Olympius honestly more layered as a character than people give credit for, because Olympius never finds out Queen Banshira sees him, her own son, just as expendable as everyone else, which made him very tragic in a way, but ultimately I do think this guy is an underrated kick-ass villain. He and Diabolico I both love equally and really loved their rivalry, and I loved Olympius's seething hatred for the Red Ranger. He actually gave Carter a very decent fight, which is why he's up here on S tier, because the only guy who's a threat to Carter Grayson definitely deserves a lot more cred. Alright, let's knock off one of these other villains. I guess we'll do the plant guy. I'm trying to remember his name. I think his name is Vilevine. Yeah, okay. This guy, we'll put on B also. If you don't know, this is the one-shot villain, a plant monster. He's summoned by Olympius to basically help exterminate all his enemies. He nearly kills Vipra and Loki, so already a badass moment. But then, this is the episode where he basically plants mutant spores on the Rangers. He attaches plants to their morphers during a fight, and the spores are counting down and will eventually kill everyone, the Rangers and everyone around them, like at 12 o'clock noon. So they have a countdown and they can't morph because the plants are holding their power back, basically. This guy had a really cool design. If you can't see him. He looks like Darkonda, but with plant appendages. Really neat design, really threatening villain. He did have a lot more higher moments than some of these one-shot characters. Okay, just reading comments, yeah. Okay, he has the spores attached to him. In one of the more intense episodes, the Rangers realize they have to fly off into space and air out the spores out in, like, the reaches of space. They fly up in a Megazord and have to, like, open the space shuttle window to air the spores out so they don't kill anyone on Earth or the Rangers themselves. And they have a big badass fight against this guy and his plant gimmick, and of course, you could guess he already dies, and he becomes a giant monster the Megazord slays. Yeah, I would put him on B. He was a lot more effective than some of these later one-shot villains. Yeah, Power Rangers do have effective plant monsters. That's what we'll put him on B. He is definitely okay. The one-shot monsters we're probably not going to see any higher, but I do think he's pretty good. We'll put him on B. Do like Darkonda going green. Yeah, Vilevine is his name. Okay, thank you. Alright, so we gotta do another Ranger. Alright, let's talk about everyone's favorite or least favorite flyboy, Joel. Joel the Green Ranger, I might put on A. Yeah, he's definitely not an S-tier Green Ranger. Joel is basically the immature one of the group. He's the Air Force pilot. He's the cowboy. He's the flirt. He likes hanging out with women. He's the plucky comic relief of the Rangers alongside Kelsey. Yeah, Kim Strauss. Okay, he's Vilevine. Thank you. Alright, anyways, the Green Ranger, this one I actually think is a bit underrated, but also not the all-time S-tier Green Ranger. It is very hard to outdo Trip from Time Force, but I thought Joel was pretty fun. He has his humorous moments. Joel, his biggest character arc is basically, he's the immature one who has to grow up, and he has a big crush on their science technician, Miss Fairweather, and trying to basically get in her pants all season, only to hilariously fumble his chances at getting laid every time. Okay, Kim Strauss was in Robots in Disguise as Ultra Magnus. Oh, that is pretty surprising. Good for him. Joel is a snarky guy who does go through development through the series, and of course has the hots for Miss Fairweather, which he does win in the end. Yeah, of course, he finally impresses Miss Fairweather near the end of the season after he shows that he's a hero and that he is mature. But Joel basically is the Ranger who grows up. He goes from not wanting to be a Ranger to a cocky hotshot into a true rescue hero like the rest of his friends. And that is actually pretty good character development, and his attempts at trying to hook up with Miss Fairweather are easily some of the funniest moments in the series. He's trying to impress her, and she is not at all into him when he's an immature jokester. She eventually does grow feelings for him, and they do hook up by the finale, thanks to Joel being the one who saves the day. Yeah, that is pretty much what 1 points for Joel. Easily the finale. He takes charge. He's the one who pilots the submarine out of the breaking apart Aqua Base. The Battlings invade them. They're trapped in like a submarine, and Joel takes charge and shoots a Megazord dead and breaks them out of the flooding base. Really awesome moment and underrated. And I also really liked his vehicle. I did have like a McDonald's toy of his green like X-Wing speeder thing. It's both funny and painful to see him trying to hook up with Miss Fairweather. Yeah, either you find it absolutely hilarious or absolutely cringy. I kind of find it funny because it's cringy because he's trying to be the cool guy only to screw up. It basically, they try to model it off of like a child's crush on a girl and how children would try to pick up women. Basically because the Rangers are supposed to appeal to the younger crowd, so it is pretty funny. I like that he pretends he's a nerd and almost blows up the Aqua Base trying to cross wires together. Joel is played by Keith Robinson. Okay. Anyways, yeah, Green Ranger, I think Joel is actually pretty awesome. Not one of the all-time favorite Green Rangers. Trip from Time Force, pretty hard to overcome, and I do like Damon from Lost Galaxy because he was a lot funnier. And I'm sure I'm missing some, but yeah, this Green Ranger, I think he's pretty alright. We'll put him on A. Definitely pretty good. He is an ace pilot, and one hell of a good character. You know, we might actually put him in front of Luke, or no, Chad too. We'll put him in front of Chad. Sorry, I got my 500 waters here to stay hydrated. Alright, let's knock off another one-shot character. Is this the weird cuckoo bird guy that sounds like Ed Wynn? I think that might be him. Alright, we'll talk about Aquafiend first. Aquafiend we'll put on to C. If you don't know, this is the underwater villain who steals Trident's trident. When is the female Rangers? Well, I haven't watched any Power Rangers after SPD, and there are a lot of women Rangers I do not recognize on that list. Also, see, this is the first or second African-American Ranger who doesn't wear a black jumpsuit. Well, there was actually a black Ranger back on Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Yeah, hilariously, they made the black guy the Black Ranger and the Asian girl the Yellow Ranger. I remember how he mistook Fairweather's brother for her boyfriend. Yeah, that was a funny rom-com episode. Pretty weird, too, because it definitely did feel like he was making moves on Miss Fairweather, and they were having, like, a date in the car. It's actually a pretty funny episode. Anyways, Aquafiend, he successfully steals Trident's trident and tries to cause a drought in Mariner Bay. This almost destroys the entire water system of the town, and basically, Chad and the Little Mermaid are forced to team up to take down Aquafiend. And yeah, I do like the water monster. They try and play him up like the creature of the Black Lagoon. A lot of underwater fighting scenes, which definitely won him a few points above some of the dud generic monsters. But, you know, I think he was definitely okay villain, easily outclassed by other events in the episode. But Aquafiend will be our first C tier. The knockoff Ursula monster who basically copied her plan on stealing the trident and used its power. Yeah, that is him. Peter Greenwood is Aquafiend. Aquafiend is a kappa or a turtle. I think he's supposed to be like an evil sea turtle that is kind of got the shell on the back, but they also gave him like a snapping jaw, like a snapping turtle. I think he's like supposed to be based off of Toka of Ninja Turtles. You know, the giant turtle. Yeah, we'll put him on C. He's definitely a fun villain. Basically, generic monster formula. Almost causes a drought. He is a pretty effective villain. But Chad and the Little Mermaid beat him, then have the giant Megazord kaiju fight where they blow him up again. Yeah, we'll put him on C. Alright, so who to do next? I guess I'll also knock out... what was his name? The weird snake that breathed ice. His name was like Cold Cruel or something. I would put him on B. Yeah, this is, if you don't know from the ice episode, this is the snake that can freeze people with an ice breath ray. It looks pretty ridiculous watching, like there's like shooting a hose with a snow machine out of this cobra mouth, but honestly, that made him really fun. I do like the ice villains, kind of, and Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue did not do that bad a job trying to, you know, mimic a winter and people who were frozen today. He actually eats the monsters, and what put him on to B is he quotes Fat Bastard, "Get in my belly." Never expected to hear an Austin Powers reference on Power Rangers. Why can't you call her Ariel? Her real name is Marina. That's what her actual name in the show. Marina is the mermaid Chad falls in love with. I believe she's named after Mariner Bay because her name's Marina, but yeah. This is the Ice Cobra anyways we're talking about, and honestly, I do like the gimmicks behind him. He has like a ice hose that comes out of his mouth, and he freezes Miss Fairweather, and he actually eats the Power Rangers, except for Carter. This guy, 1 point because he almost defeats the Power Rangers. The Rangers are eaten, and they're trapped in his basically frozen esophagus, slowly freezing to death and being digested, where Carter has to master some new toy. It's like he's mastering that weird motorcycle thing, and he has to basically punch them out of the Cobra. He like punches him, get in my belly, and he punches him and vomits the Rangers out, where they do their basic shtick, blow him up, fight him as a kaiju, blow him up all over again. A decent snake monster, but this series does have a better one with the Cobra tattoo. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. The Curse of the Cobra. Freezard. Okay, thank you, Akira. Sorry, I'm definitely gonna forget some names of the one-shot villains because I watched this for the real characters, alright? Yeah, Freezard, we'll put him on B. He definitely had his funny moments and was actually one of the cooler snake monsters. He is outclassed by the Cobra statue, of course, but honestly, we'll put him on B because he's not that bad. Love Lightspeed Rescue with Wild Force. It's one of only 2 pre-streaming era seasons not broadcasted in my country, so I was using it to help me learn English. Lightspeed Rescue is a favorite of mine. It is free on YouTube. The post-Zordon eras are free on YouTube. They're on the official Power Rangers channel. I do believe they have all up to Mystic Force. Yeah, they're not playing some of the Disney ones or the Nickelodeon ones because Nickelodeon wants you to pay for Paramount Plus. But all the post-Zordon era shows are on there. They have some Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. They have some of Turbo. They do not have Zeo. I could not find that one. But they have In Space, Lost Galaxy, Lightspeed Rescue, Time Force, Wild Force, all the good ones, basically. And yeah, I've been rewatching Lightspeed Rescue lately and wanted to do this list. I am on Time Force right now, so sorry, don't expect that one tomorrow or anything. I have to finish Time Force all over again before I do one. Hi, Casey Batman, glad you made it. I see Marina from the French Zozig and Sharko show. Alright. Let's do another Power Ranger. Let's do Yellow Ranger, Lightspeed Ready, Kelsey. Kelsey, actually going into S. Yeah, I do like Kelsey. This is an underrated Yellow Ranger. Not one of my favorites of all time. That honor definitely goes to Maya, the Jungle Princess. She was my Ranger crush. But Kelsey, honestly found pretty fun. She's enjoyable. Kelsey is the Wasp of the Power Rangers. She's the bubbly, hyper-energetic one. Basically a kid at heart, despite being a grown-ass adult woman. Kelsey is initially the sports daredevil. She is an athlete. She is doing death-defying sports stuff. She rock climbs walls. She's a skating champ. She's a full-blown athlete and adventurer, and she's picked up, thanks to her athletic prowess, to become the Yellow Rescue Ranger. And Kelsey, she is fun. She is funny. She's adorable. She has nice moments. She has this very sweet friendship with the Rangers. She treats the Rangers more like her family rather than her co-workers. All the guys at first treat each other like co-workers. Kelsey treats them like friends. They're like her bros. They're her posse, and she is so much fun. Kelsey Winslow, played by Sasha Craig. Yeah, Sasha was very pretty. While far from one of my favorite Yellow Rangers, Kelsey was still an awesome character. Yeah, Kelsey, I put her on S tier because she's honestly pretty funny. She's one of the few good comic relief characters on the show. She's genuinely enjoyable. She has an adorable friendship with all the people. She has this very hilarious episode where she has family drama with her grandma. Her grandma is kind of this isolated rich bitch who only cares about her money. You may have all this, but you have nothing in here. Pointing to his heart. Yeah, it's pretty funny. I do love Kelsey and her grandma have one of the best and cutest relationships ever, and leads to the funniest climaxes ever, where Kelsey's grandma realizes that she does care about her granddaughter more than her wealth and treasures, and grandma actually shows up in a forklift running over batlings and beating them to death with a hockey stick to save her loving granddaughter. It is a hilarious climax, but a heartwarming one. Yeah, I remember an episode where her grandmother wanted her to stop being a ranger, and in the episode she fought while in socks. Yeah, Kelsey and her grandma do not get along. Basically, she comes from a wealthy family. Her grandma used to be like her, but then she retired and became kind of a bitter businesswoman who cares more about money and wealth. Kelsey gets her to basically defrost, open up, and reacquire a taste for life and fun again, and Kelsey uses her roller skates to kick a lot of ass. There's apparently a fan theory that Kelsey's a lesbian because she has this really close relationship with this girl she befriends early in the series. I think Kelsey might be bi because she also clearly has a crush on Chad, who, you know, is a guy. So I think Kelsey might be the first bi Power Ranger. Yeah, she was in a horror movie, Tucker and Dale versus Evil, as the news reporter, and Anna and Dark Wolf. Oh, Kelsey was in Tucker and Dale versus Evil? Now I have to watch that. Okay, Kelsey, honestly, is a fun Yellow Ranger. This is definitely the kid appeal character. She's the fun-loving, immature one, but also kicks ass, knows when to get serious. I do think she is definitely an underrated source of fun on the show, which is why she makes it very high, because she is genuinely one of the funnier and entertaining comic reliefs. Not the best Yellow Ranger ever. I do think she is outclassed, we'll say, by some others. Ashley and Mai are definitely my favorite yellows, but Kelsey is honestly not too bad. She gets a lot of funny moments, which is why she's on S tier, and love her friendship with Dana. It really humanized them a lot more. Kelsey's also the most moral one of the group. She's kind of the team heart. Again, she's kind of like Wasp from Earth's Mightiest Heroes. She's the caring, nurturing girl, but also has a sense of fun and likes living on the wild side. So I will put her on S tier. She's definitely a lively yellow. You know that there is a Japanese version? Yeah, the Super Sentai, Kyuku Sentai Go-Go 5. Is Marina there in the tier list? I did not think so. I'm sorry, Marina didn't come because she only has like 2 episodes. For some reason, all the one-shot monsters made it on. But yeah, Marina had like 2 episodes, and she's kind of an ally for the Rangers. Alright, let's do the Mantis one. I like his design, but we'll put him on C. This is the evil Mantis from the Groundhog Day loop episode. Basically, he was there helping Olympius, and this monster won some points because they killed the Power Rangers together, except for Carter. This is the Mantis which caused the time warp. During the Olympius' ambush on the Rangers, they successfully kill Carter's team, except for Carter, who travels back in time with his fight with this Mantis, and they go back and basically Carter relives like the same day over and over again until he can break the Groundhog Day loop. And this is the monster by Olympius' side, and to his credit, he did help kill the Rangers, so he does get some street cred. Manta Evil. Of course it is. Yeah, sorry, Marina, I don't think she's on here. Mostly got a lot of the one-shot monsters because I think kids liked them more. Anyways, the Mantis I thought was pretty cool. Has a really nice design. He looks like a blue Manny. And has a really epic sickle weapon. Epic sickle weapon, and he has this very cool fight with Carter. Carter, of course, breaks the Groundhog Day loop and successfully kills this monster so they can't repeat the same day over and over again. He turns into a giant kaiju, another awesome Megazord fight, and then they blow him up. Yeah, we'll put him on C. I like his design, that won him points, but definitely under the shadow of Olympius' might. Aside from assisting Olympius in killing the Rangers in the Groundhog Day, this monster didn't do that much. Yeah, that's why he's kind of down in C. He helped kill the Rangers, so that won him a point to go into C. He was played by Michael McConney, who was the narrator in Wild Force. Ooh, real step up there. And Motor Mantis in Lost Galaxy. I see, typecasted as the Mantis villain. Okay. Alright, Akira, you want Vipera. Alright, not gonna lie, this lady was one of my first Power Ranger villain crushes. Power Rangers has a lot of sexy female Baroness type of villains, and Vipera was definitely one of them. Yeah, I know, I liked her more than Astronema and Trakina. Yeah, a lot of us, yeah. Astronema, Trakina, Toxica. This is the one that kind of did it for me, because Vipera is kind of a heavy metal Morgan. So Jennifer Yen's acting is not all that hot, but the character Vipera was fun. Really like the Viprari. Alright, so might be my most controversial take, but Vipra going into S tier. Yes, I know Jennifer Yen's acting is kind of bad for at least half the series. She did get better. Special mention going to her death scene where she finally did emote. But yeah, Vipra, I have a soft spot for her. She is one of my villain Power Ranger crushes. I know, more than Trakina, Astronema, Toxica, Elsa. A lot of us, but yeah. Vipra, what can I say? I like her. Dig the Morgan Einsland heavy metal type of look. Vipra is basically one of the generals for Diabolico and Queen Banshira. She is at first a very major villain. She's the one doing all of Diabolico's dirty work until Olympius takes over. Sigh, Vipra. Yeah, she was hot, but she can't act. Yeah, this is definitely your controversial take. Yeah, what can I say? She was definitely a crush I had when I was watching Power Rangers. Really liked the sexy Morgan Einsland look. So, yeah, let's get this out of the way. Jennifer Yen's acting, not good for like the first half of the series, and it is very hilarious that Power Rangers had a character they kept around because she was hot. Yeah, she couldn't act, but she was hot. She wore the hot leather pants, which showed off her butt, bared her midriff, had the heavy metal armor, which barely covered anything. Really sexy Morgan's Einsland kind of look, and she could blow kisses, which hypnotized men. Definitely a G-rated Baroness slash Morgan succubus type of villain. Then again, she still did more than Loki, so she still did more than at least, yeah. Vipra is kind of the main villain fighting the Rangers on Diabolico's behalf. She's always partnered up with the Monster of the Week, going on a rampage, fulfilling missions for Diabolico, looking hot, making sexy villain poses, doing a lot of the scheming, helping guide the monster. She's usually one of these monsters' keeper and commander. She goes out on the battlefield a lot more than Diabolico does, so she does have plot relevance. She's kind of the heavy for Diabolico, doing his missions for him. She gets some personality. She's basically kind of the Baroness of the team, the sexy femme fatale. She's backs up a lot of their villain plans, and my personal favorite, the Viprari. Yeah, it's basically this dune buggy with metal bat wings. I loved her Viprari. It is ridiculous and obvious a toy commercial sale, but man, does Jennifer Yen really rock it. And Jennifer Yen looks so hot. She honestly still looks very pretty today. I have seen like TikTok pictures of her, and honestly looks pretty good. So Vipra is kind of there as the villain who gets stuff done, serves Diabolico at first, then Diabolico dies, and to her credit, she does resurrect Diabolico with the satanic ritual, so she does have major plot importance. Unfortunately, at the end of the series, in the final story arc, Vipra has failed too many times. She enacts a scheme of her own because when her fine ass is on the chopping block, she uses a monster named Treevil to try and go on a rampage. However, it fails, blows up in her face. The Treevil monster dies, and she does not exterminate the Rangers, meaning Queen Banshira executes her, and Vipra goes out crying like a wuss, being sacrificed by Queen Banshira, where Banshira sort of gets her body to pass her essence onto, and basically revives her physical form. Vipra ultimately becomes a sacrifice for Queen Banshira, who's down here to step in as the real villain, finally getting stuff done. And we don't see Vipra again until the Time Force crossover, where she literally crawls back out of the grave because you can't keep a good demon down. Vipra is hot. Like, is this before they covered up all female hottest villains in clothes? Yeah, they full-on imported her Japanese counterpart's costume, and Jennifer Yen really worked it. She looks pretty hot, pretty nice. Lots of fan service-y shots, so probably more reason to watch Lightspeed Rescue. I know people like Trakina and Astronema especially. Toxica, not too bad, but Vipra was definitely my Power Ranger villain crush, which is why she gets a lot of cheat codes to make it into S tier. But don't worry, she'll be on low S tier because Jennifer Yen's acting is easily the worst part of this character. She does do a convincing death scene, so I will defend that. Basically, she's absorbed by Queen Banshira, who uses her physical form to reborn herself into the female Exodia Necro down here. But Vipra, I will defend S tier because she is memorable and she is important to the plot. regardless of how you feel about the character or her acting. Yeah, she did a lot more than Loki. That was kind of a bigger thing. I guess Jennifer Yen could move better because she wasn't in a big rubber suit like Loki was. Like, can she be live action Morgan? I would say so. She technically is kind of a succubus, so definitely Power Rangers is Morgan. Jennifer L. Yen was also in Feng Twin in Indiana Jones and the Emperor Tomb video game. Oh, good. Glad to see Jennifer Yen still got work. So she's better than Lila Rossi, since what's the point of having her as a villain? She is definitely a great villain, a great femme fatale villain. I miss when we had villains like Vipra, sexy femme fatale badasses on Power Rangers. What, I just realized that she had a grave, but how could she have a grave? Yeah, Time Force kind of ignored a lot of the continuity in Lightspeed Rescue. First off, they cheaped out and made it a half-hour episode instead of a two-parter like all the others. Yeah, Lightspeed Rescue and Time Force's crossover, easily one of the weaker ones. Wild Force and Time Force had a much better crossover, and I do like the Lost Galaxies crossover here, but yeah. Anyways, Vipra, she's on S tier because, what can I say? Power Rangers crush, but I will defend Maya the Jungle Princess is way superior. So calm, Melina. Yeah, how could she have a grape? Alright, let's knock off another monster. I think this is the weird cuckoo bird. The one that was, like, looking for the egg. The one that sounded like Ed Wynn. Alright, the cuckoo bird, we will put on C tier. This monster, I believe, has a voice impression of Ed Wynn, who played the Mad Hatter on Alice in Wonderland, and several characters on Twilight Zone. See my Twilight Zone reviews if you want to find out. But yeah, he sounds like Ed Wynn and his weird Mad Hatter voice. Basically, Jinxer was supposed to bring this super powerful demon egg to Olympius, but along the lines, during a ranger fight, he lost it, so he summons a bird monster to hunt down the egg, and the bird monster is one of the goofiest, most over-the-top villains of Lightspeed Rescue. He has, like, these cartoony effects, makes goofy noises, and I swear, the unintentionally creepiest CGI eyes ever. Yeah, the sexy femme fatale stopped after RPM. They do end that trope on a high note with Tenya 7. Okay, very good. Really miss the femme fatales of Power Rangers. They are iconic. But hey, Nickelodeon is run by wussies. She was also the only human-looking demon. Yeah, I believe she was like half human, half demon. The wings and her armor were supposed to be scales, so kind of like a half-breed type of monster, but, you know, they look very plasticky and fake. But honestly, really looked hot, too. Anyways, the cuckoo bird, we'll put him on C. He had his funny moments. This is definitely an entertaining, child-friendly villain. He hunts down an egg and goes on a more goofy-ass adventure fighting the Rangers. The Rangers wear really crappy disguises to fool the monster. Yeah, like, Joel's like dressed in drag and Kelsey's an old lady and Dana's a punk. Really funny episode, so that won him some points. But of course, generic, it's a filler villain, so we'll put him on C. He had his funny moments and really good impression of Ed Wynn. He fights the Rangers, fails to get the egg, it gets destroyed in the battle, where he turns into a giant cuckoo bird monster, and the Megazord blows him up like every other monster. Birdbane. Okay, that was his name. The demons were also the first group in Power Rangers history with an overt religious reference, Diabolico resembling Satan from Christian mythology, and the group names being lifted from denizens. Yeah, that is one of the things I loved about Lightspeed Rescue. The Rangers are fighting demons from hell. To a kid, that is totally awesome, and to this day, I am still impressed. We have not gotten references to hell and demonology in future Ranger seasons. I guess Wild Force came kinda close since the orgs look like demons, but yeah, this full-on hell monsters of hell, which is the Shadow World. Yeah, the Shadow World is pretty much hell. Alright, let's talk about the last main Power Ranger, Dana. Might be a controversial take, but Dana going into B. Oh, I hate to say this, but this might be the most generic, painfully average Pink Ranger ever. Dana, there's nothing wrong with her. She's not god awful, but she's just kind of forgettable, kind of generic. They did not take advantage of their Pink Ranger in this series. So, Dana is the combat medic. She's actually the daughter of Captain Mitchell, the real leader of the Rangers among here. He chose his daughter because she's a caring combat medic, his most trusted soldier. She always obeys her daddy, does what he commands, and proves herself that she is fully capable of handling Ranger responsibilities. And unfortunately, this Pink Ranger doesn't get much spotlight. She doesn't do much. Dana kind of fell under the spotlight of the other four. Like, the other four Rangers do a lot more, have actual focus episodes on them, have actual character development. Dana does not get all that much, and that's kind of the problem. She has at least two big episodes. One is the Rangers lose their memories except for her, but it's kind of a crappy ass clip show where she just reminds the Rangers of everything and we get flashbacks to all the good episodes. And then her actual character driven episode where she becomes a glitz girl. Dana gets recruited by a modeling agency, leading to some wacky hijinks because she neglects her Ranger duties in order to go to stage shows and become a model, and the fame goes to her head. She turns into Gracie from Headshot. Yeah, Dana was my least favorite Ranger in the series as well. Also loses points on her final focused episode in the Limelight, where she gave up on being a Ranger and wanted to be a popular, model. Yeah, that is pretty much Dana's only solo episode where she actually got character. Dana wants to become a doctor and she's going through medical school. However, after a photographer snaps pics of her in action saving lives, a modeling agency picks her up because the Pink Ranger is always hot. I mean, the Pink and Yellow Rangers are always the hottest chicks ever, so yeah, she's hot, and a modeling agency convinces her to join. They'll give her enough money for medical school, and Dana becomes a star. She becomes like the #1 hottest woman ever, makes it on Time magazine, is basically on top of the world, and she gets very high on the fame. It all goes to her head, and she, of course, acts like a bitch to her best friends. Needed some water, yeah. So she neglects her duties, and I do like her relationship with Kelsey. Basically, they go from total besties to fighting each other. Her and Kelsey were definitely the most entertaining part of the episode. She turns her back on her friends, but of course, gets reminded that she's a Power Ranger and that people need her. Carter is a lot more effective at basically bringing Dana back to reality. Carter reminds her that there's a monster still on the loose and innocent people could get hurt, which triggers Dana's guilt, and she realizes that she does like being a ranger more than being a glory hound model. And yeah, of course, she becomes the Pink Ranger again, saves the day last second before the Rangers lose, and basically they kick the monster's ass and blow him up again. And Dana decides she's done modeling. Kelsey almost gets picked up as a model, but she says no, and they both laugh it off as best friends. And then Dana kind of became a side character. Birdbrain's actor Michael Surik was also Raw Devil and Deather Gynos in Final Fantasy Legends of the Crystals. Okay, didn't know that. I actually found Dana for beautiful and sexy the Kimberly. Oh, more than Kimberly. That right, she's better than Kimberly. Oh man, Kimberly is definitely S tier if we were doing the hottest Power Ranger girls on here. So Kimberly gets a lot of love. Dana, honestly, the girl playing her is very pretty, and her actress is miles better than Vipra's for sure, but she didn't get to do much. That is the problem. Dana doesn't get to do much. This is easily the most forgettable Pink Ranger of the series, which hurts because she's coming after Corone, and the next one, Jen, easily the best Pink Ranger of all time. yeah, Lightspeed Rescue, the one ranger they failed is easily the Pink Ranger. She just did not get to do much, and that is why she is on B, because she is a basic ranger. Dana's not one of my favorites. If you love her, that's fine, and the actress playing her definitely hot. I can understand why she became a model, but in context as a character as a whole, definitely B. Also, she's played by Allison McInnes. That she was Christine Evans in God's Club and was in Smash Supremacy. Yeah, Dana is the Antakami of Lightspeed since Antakami is the role model. Okay, so Dana's a combat medic, so she does have skills, and honestly, I don't think she's awful enough to be down lower, but yeah, definitely a basic Pink Ranger. Jen, a million times better, the Time Force Pink Ranger. Time Force absolutely fixed their Pink Ranger problem because Jen actually felt like a complex, interesting character, whereas Dana just got the shaft. Alright, let's do my favorite Ranger minions, the Batlings. Batlings going on to A. I really liked these guys as a kid. Or a kitten, as we prefer to be called. Really like these minions. These are the Batlings. These are basically the expendable foot soldier minions of the demons. They're Ninja Batman. Yeah, I really like their design, really like their creepy voices, and they are super effective in the finale as a dangerous demon army. Christina V voiced Kimberly from On Rita Rewind. Oh, really good. Guess it makes sense since Christina V is also hot and Kimberly was a Power Ranger crush for many. After cinematic vampire bats, these grunts are implied by name to be infantile, juvenile, lesser versions, therefore Batlings. Okay, so I really like the Batlings. Really cool. Ninja Batman. Yeah, basically they're martial artists who wear bat-themed suits. They serve basically Queen Banshira, Diabolical, all the demon generals. They are the expendable foot soldiers, and one thing that propelled them very high is their role in the finale. After Queen Banshira loses all her elite commanders, has no more monsters, Jinxer sticks a Batling card on the Megazord when it returns to base. And this Batling card basically spawns an army of monsters and spawns more and more and more, and the Batlings won points because they destroy the Aqua base. Yeah, take that, Cyclobots. These guys wreck the Aqua base thoroughly. An army of them basically infiltrate the Ranger base from within. They start shooting up the halls, killing people left and right, and go on a rampage, Zerg rushing the Rangers and their allies, just totally wrecking the Aqua base. More power to you. Wasn't that into the Batlings as I thought they were better villain henchmen in the series. They do win points for being effective in the finale, though. Yeah, that is pretty much why I like them. They, as a kid, I really found them scary, so seeing them go on a rampage during the Aqua base was definitely a scary moment for kids, because the bad guys finally get a victory, and the Batlings prove themselves as very deadly henchmen. I do see people liking the Space Knights from In Space better. Never was a huge fan of the Stingwingers. The Cyclobots, they are pretty cool, won't lie. They are awesome villain henchmen too. The Batlings, I think, are actually underrated. They're a little goofy for most of the series up until the finale, where they finally score a victory. They overwhelm the base, they hijack Megazords, they basically start overpowering the Power Rangers, which is why they won major points. Easily the finale is what propelled them high on this list, but I will give them A because they are pretty awesome to me. Like, why didn't Man-Bat hire his own Batlings? That would be fun in a crossover, but I doubt Batman and Carter Grayson will get along. Oh yeah, Quantrons from In Space are goated. Alright, that's what they're called, yeah. The Quantrons, the weird Space Knights. Those guys are awesome too. Really liked their weird cybernetic medieval knight and Klingon Batla weapons. Those guys are definitely S tier. The Batlings, I think, are honestly pretty good too. Alright, so let's knock off some monsters. Where is he looking for? Ah, let's do Demon Knight, Thunderon, and Falcor. We'll start with Demon Knight. I'll actually put these guys on A. They are honestly pretty effective villains too, and are the villains of the Curse of the Cobra arc. Here's Falcor. I just need Thunderon wherever he is. I think this is him. Okay. Yeah, let's do it. Demon Knight, Thunderon, and Falcor, the elite monster trio who Diabolico sends as his last-ditch attempt to kill the Rangers. These are technically the three heavy antagonists during the Curse of the Cobra arc. Diabolico now has his head on the chopping block, and out of fear that Queen Banshira will take away his star power, he finally summons 3 monsters to assassinate the Power Rangers. Demon Knight, Thunderon, and Falcor. And these guys, honestly, pretty cool villains. They have a lot more personality than some of the lesser villains on this list, and are available for pretty much like 3 to 4 episodes. Basically, this trio nearly succeed at killing the Power Rangers, where we meet the 6th Ranger, the Titanium Ranger, Ryan down here, steps up and he's the first that actually beats them. Also, Birdbrain played the Tar Monster and Cotton Candy Glob on Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed. Oh, good for him. Major step up. Ah, yes, the Deadly Trio and Diabolico's most powerful henchmen. Very tough opponents and even got a fuse-like form at the end of their arc before Diabolico took matters into his own hands. Yeah, these 3 really effective villains. They are the first to actually pose as a threat to the Power Rangers. They nearly kill the main 5 until the Titanium Ranger shows up and puts them in their place, leading to Diabolico giving Ryan the Cobra tattoo, one of my favorite arcs. It is a very creepy arc and was actually my first introduction to Lightspeed Rescue. My parents had like the VHS tapes of Power Rangers, and they showed me this one, and it was my intro to Lightspeed Rescue. And I do remember these 3 villains. They were fun, they were effective, they actually had personality too. These are Diabolico's elite assassins, which is why they get higher than most, and they are actually a force to be reckoned with. They are threatening. Demon Knight, definitely a strategic knight, a master planner, very deadly swordsman. Thunderon, the big brute, has deadly gauntlets with spikes at the end, a total wrecking ball. And Falcor, fun, over-the-top, hammy villain with more sneaky skills. He's a much more sinister, hides in the shadows, backstabbers, has that cool staff trick he uses to kick the Rangers. David Stenson played Demon Knight. Okay, so Demon Knight dies first, then Thunderon, and Falcor actually tried chickening out of the fight. Incredible. He's watching like his giant monster buddy fight the Rangers. Perfect. Thunderon will eliminate those pesky Power Rangers, and I'll get all the credit. But Diabolico had other plans and forces Falcor to fight too as a giant monster. Yeah, Diabolico actually stabs Falcor in the back, which really super effective and creepy death too. He stabs him in the back, they both become giant monsters, and these guys were even tough as kaiju monsters because the Titanium Ranger needed to come in with his Megazords to basically kill all 3 of them. Yeah, they needed multiple Megazords to stop these guys, so definitely effective villains. And the best part, they weren't dead yet. Diabolico summoned them as a fusion monster. They had like 3 faces and all their powers combined. They give the Rangers one final tough fight, but the Rangers use their V-Lancers to blast them to oblivion, and Diabolico finally steps in at the end to become a final boss, only to find out he was just the beginning. Yeah, these 3 guys, awesome. They're definitely super effective. Really nice seeing a team of monsters in the Power Rangers, and these guys definitely had a lot of personality, awesome fight scenes, and were really tough SOBs to kill, so I will put them on A. Striking is a cool electric skeleton. I know who you're talking about. Thunderon feels like a Ben 10 live action villain. Yeah, it definitely does, with the weird gauntlets. Alright, so before we get to the 6th Ranger, we should talk about the Ranger allies. We'll put Miss Fairweather, who I will actually put onto A2. Miss Fairweather is the scientist who invented all the Ranger gadgets, aka the new toys, and the love interest for our dear Green Ranger Joel. Miss Fairweather, honestly pretty awesome, underrated Ranger ally. She's pretty much she's the nice teacher. She's the friendly teacher and mentor to the Rangers, while Captain Mitchell is more of the stern but caring teacher. Captain Mitchell, a lot more straightforward. She's more of an emotional, supportive character, and she has this cute romance with Joel, where Joel's trying to hook up with her, but she is not into him until later. Miss Fairweather gets points because she invents all the cool Ranger technology, and she had that badass moment where she took charge in the finale after Captain Mitchell was sort of having a low-key meltdown. Captain Mitchell falls into depression when the Aqua Base is destroyed. His life's work, everything he wanted to achieve, is falling apart. His world is ending all around him, where Miss Fairweather takes charge, takes control, and evacuates the Aqua Base and helps the Rangers basically try and survive the battling waves. And yeah, that actually won her points. Definitely had her strong moments too. When life was on the line, Miss Fairweather did step in. When Captain Mitchell got hypnotized, she actually breaks the hacking crystal he planted herself. So yeah, she won pretty points. Nice supportive character. Yeah, Miss Fairweather, we'll put on A. Definitely a fun science character, but we'll just say Dr. Cat easily outclasses her. Dr. Cat, another one of my Power Ranger crushes. She would have been on S tier, but Miss Fairweather, she's fair. Ezra Weiss played Falcor, who played Fred Hapio, Andre the Ice Cream Man, and Miraculous. Oh, did not know that was that. Did not know he was in that. Okay. Miss Fairweather was awesome. Yeah, she was. She made all the toys, and she was definitely not putting up with Joel's crap. She rejected Joel at every turn until he proved he was a mature, better man. So, who didn't like Miss Fairweather? She goes on A tier. But Dr. Cat, she is the S tier scientist. Yeah, I love my sexy cat women, even in Power Rangers. Miss Fairweather, we'll put on A, because she is awesome. Alright, let's bump off another monster of the week. I'm trying to remember this shield guy. I remember his most famous scene is they broke his shield. We'll put him on D. We'll put him up higher because he had that cool shield. Basically, this guy, I believe he's a challenge to the Rangers because they can't break his defenses, where they have to use their new technology, and I believe they use either the V-Lancers or the Power Punch on him, and they finally break through his shield and destroy him. Basically, he was kind of a tough boss because he had high defense skills. We'll put him on D because he's another forgettable one. Speaking of which, let's also put Ella Stomp on here too. Basically, generic brute character. Ella Stomp tried to trigger a volcano. Didn't really get much personality or even a voice actor. It's just a mindless elephant who likes punching and destroying everything. Yeah, sorry, I want to get rid of some of these lesser monsters. Oh, I think this is the Sorcerer, the Spellbinder who tried to summon Queen Banshira. Okay, we'll put him on B, because this guy nearly succeeds at winning. This is the Spellbinder. He's a magical mage demon. They hire him to summon Queen Banshira back to life. He has a ritual, it nearly destroys the city, and to be fair, he did summon Queen Banshira out of her space dimension and gave her a half-baked physical form. Queen Banshira does not get her true final form yet. She's trapped in this weird column and has tentacles from a hentai. The Spellbinder honestly almost came close to succeeding. He's a very threatening villain. Had actually the most close near villain victory a lot of these generic monsters of the week had. So I will put him on B because he did come very close, but still so far. Alright, let's do our last demon general. Oh no, we got two more. Okay, we'll put Loki. Might upset people, but Loki going on to B. Loki has one major moment in the series, and that's his death. Loki is basically the stupid brute general. It's implied he's the one who teach the Batlings how to fight, but he doesn't get to do much. It's mostly Vipra. He and Vipra pal around a lot. He is Diabolico's best friend and most loyal soldier. Actually, Ellis Stomp was worse than that. All he did was stomp like crazy against the Rangers and dies in a one-shot anticlimactically by the Rescue Bird. I argue he's the worst monster in the series. Okay, then I guess we'll put Ellis Stomp at rock bottom then. Linkara. And then there's Loki. Or Loki. Loki exists. Yeah, unfortunately, Loki is supposed to be the comic relief monster, but I think Jinxer kind of did that purpose way better. Loki is kind of just there. He's the exposition monkey. He's there to bounce off of Diabolico and Vipra, who are the real important characters. Loki is basically best friends with Vipra and Diabolico. It is really nice to see that these three were actually friends. Unfortunately, Loki only gets one major role, and that's his death. Loki and Diabolico team up to destroy the Power Rangers on the Queen's behalf. However, Loki struggles to kill the Rangers. They try and dogpile him, and Queen Bansheera orders Diabolico to shoot in a shot that will kill the Rangers and Loki. Diabolico does not want to shoot it because Loki is his best friend. Loki, gave him this cool fly medallion earlier to show a sign of their friendship. And Diabolico is forced and puppeted by Queen Bansheera to shoot. And the shot does not kill the Rangers, but it does kill Loki. And Loki gets his one major scene where he's dying, realizing that the Queen never cared for him, and tells Diabolico to kind of let go and how he was his greatest friend ever. I gave my life for the Queen, but it was all a waste. Don't make the same mistake I did, Diabolico. And yeah, that is the end of Loki. He dies, he blows up, and Diabolico loses both his best friends, and it triggers Diabolico's redemption arc. That is what Loki's role amounts to. Like Spellbinder is played by Kirk Thornton, who is Kisame in Naruto. Oh, pretty cool. Yeah, Kisame was a much better character, though. And Kishiro Maruka in Persona 4, the animation. And Hamster, Veal, and Stitch. Never watched that. Also, Kirk played Adam Warlock in the Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Ah, that I did hear. You should have started with that, Akira. Anyways, yeah, Loki just kind of exists, exactly like the Pink Ranger. He's kind of just there, but unlike Dana, he got way less importance in the plot. Loki's biggest role is he dies. That is his big factor in this. He just dies. He's the funny, stupid brute backing up the other real villains, and then his death triggers Diabolico's character development, and that is the end of Loki. Doesn't even show up in the Hell montage, so we'll put him on B because he is a basic character. Alright, got quite a few one-shot villains, so I guess we should start tearing down those. This is the weird bat monster, I think. It could also be a bird. We'll put it on C in case I mix them up. Basically, another giant flyer monster. So, the Power Rangers go to hell, literally go to hell, and when they escape thanks to the power of the Sorcerer of the Sands, at least 3 of the monsters get away, and I think we might put those 3 on here too. I'm pretty sure this giant guy was also one of them. Basically, 3 monsters escape from hell, and they're already in giant form, and it gives the Rangers a big-ass kaiju battle, basically. And yeah, basically they blow the monsters back to hell. Pretty generic, flat characters, and kind of only exist to have a giant Megazord fight and use that Sentai footage. There was another one down here, but I can't put my finger on it. Where is... I'm sure we'll stumble upon it. Yeah, sorry, forgive me, people. I'm trying to recognize some of these people, because a lot of them are one-shot characters. Is this the Electric Skeleton one? Let me know, Akira. I know you really want to talk about that one. The one that fries the robot Lightspeed Rescue Rangers. Do you remember that one episode where a woman said, "There's no such thing as monsters"? Yeah, the dumbest person in Power Rangers history, that old lady from the Lightspeed Rescue and Lost Galaxy crossover. Do you watch Super Sentai? No, I do not. Why aren't you doing Ryan? Wanted to end this on a high note. But yeah, we'll do him. I wanted to get some one-shot characters out of the way. Sorry, I'm struggling to recognize a few of these because the shots are very small. I think this one was also the third giant monster. Don't recognize the guy with the 3 heads. Alright, we'll talk about, let's do Tri-Skull from the crossover. Tri-Skull, I will also put onto B. Cool character and concept. Tri-Skull is the scary minion to Turkina. We find out Turkina from Lost Galaxy is actually still alive, and this is a recruit who Turkina asked help for. He saved Turkina's life and is helping her heal in her scary villain base. Turkina and Tri-Skull came to Earth, where they're building a life-draining machine, which will restore Turkina to her superpowered insect form, and this guy is basically her new second-in-command because, unfortunately, Villamax is dead. Villamax would have been S tier for sure, but this guy, basically he's a hired goon for Turkina, the evil mantis bitch. He's honestly pretty cool and very creepy. Basically a filler villain, but in the fun crossover with the Galaxy Rangers. This guy's pretty badass, takes on like all the Rangers on his own, and manages to hold his own against both Lightspeed Rescue and the Galactic team, and that is pretty badass. Like Loki from Lightspeed Rescue played a DC villain. Oh, he did. Loki is played by David Lodge, who played Jiraiya in Naruto. Okay, he got a huge step up there. Geralt in Fire Emblem Warrior, New Hope, Yaddlebouth in Persona 5, and Eclipso in LEGO DC Supervillains. Okay, that's why I never heard of him, because I haven't played that game yet. Okay, so this is Tri-Skull, Turkina's hired goon. He's the leader of those awesome ghoul monsters. I wish the ghouls were on here. Those would have been high up too. But yeah, basically he's doing Turkina's bidding, being her muscle, while Turkina is on life support, basically. Turkina's hiding out in like this insurance office building. They took over the 13th floor, and he disguises himself as like a security worker, and honestly that made him a lot more threatening because he could turn human, and he threatens this little girl, follows her. Eventually Carter saves the little girl Heather and her ball, and have this plot where they fight them, and he's basically Turkina's heavy. He eventually dies fighting both Red Rangers, Carter and Leo. And it is kind of depressing how this guy was badass in part 1. In part 2, he's taken out by Carter and Leo, both one-punching him to death. He doesn't even get a giant monster for him. He just gets punched to death by Carter and Leo. But I really love Carter and Leo. They are two of my favorite Red Rangers ever. Yeah, despite Danny Slavin's history, I do think Leo the Red Ranger is one of the most underrated Red Rangers ever. Loved his arc. But Lost Galaxy is a story for another time. Tri-Skull, we'll put him on B. He came so close, but ended up kind of nerfed in the part 2. Okay, this is also like Ellis Stomp. This is the 3-headed dragon. His job was to heat up a volcano, and that was it. We'll put him on D. The only thing that's memorable about him is his design. This is the monster that tried to, I believe, blow the volcano and cause Mariner Bay to die from a lava. Die by like a lava storm. He was like heating like Mount Fuji, really a dormant volcano. Mariner Bay was by it with his fire breath, and ultimately he failed. We'll put him on D because once again he did not get much personality. It was mostly Vipra and Loki doing everything, but yeah, this 3-headed dragon, pretty forgettable. Oh, is he here looking for the Mole Man? Forgive me, people. Trying to recognize some of these characters. I think this is him. This is Mole Man. Cowabunga, dude. Mole Man, I might actually put on B. Yeah, I think this is him. Those look like his weird specs wearing on his face. Yeah, the Mole Man. You remember this is from Kelsey's grandma episode. The Mole Man was building a giant laser with these superpowered crystals, and to his credit, he actually succeeds at outsmarting the Yellow Ranger, tricking her into handing him the briefcase full of all the crystals, where he constructs his giant laser for the demons. Really liked the Mole Man's design. He basically looks like this professor, but with like a mole body. He's basically wearing like giant glasses, has these sharp claws as you can see here, had a very distinct nerdy creeper voice, felt like the Mole Man from Fantastic Four almost, but I will put him on B because he was definitely a fun filler villain. Mole Man versus Marvel Mole Man. Trevel, a tree who's evil. Where is Trevel? I think this was him, but sorry, it's a bit hard to recognize some of these monsters because, let's face it, a lot of these guys are one-shot villains you'll forget. Okay, yeah, I want to bump off some of the lesser characters first. Is this the Electro Skull guy, Akira? It almost looks like him, but I'm not fully sure. And this guy, this one looks like Ecliptor almost. I know they're recycled suits, but yeah. We'll bump off the Samurai monster. We'll put him on C. I don't remember much about this monster. I know he was based off of a samurai, ancient warrior, was hired to assassinate the Rangers, but again, was basically a filler villain for a much bigger plot. We'll put him on C because honestly, he's very forgettable and he only had a cameo in the Shadow World once. Why is Vipra an S tier? I thought people hated her. Well, Axel, that's because Vipra is one of my Power Ranger villain crushes. So yes, my bias absolutely affected her ranking on this list. Don't worry, guys. Trakina will also be S tier because Trakina is actually cooler. Litzwin is in the 4th place. Oh, Litzwin, okay. Sorry, trying to recognize some of these guys. Forgive me, people, a lot of these are one-shot villains. Alright, you want to do Litzwin? Well, also put him on C. Honestly, a lot of these guys are going to be on C or D because they're not major characters. Litzwin, this is like the weird dragon-looking guy. He was pretty effective as a monster, had a really cool design. Looks like they were trying to go for a Mecha King Ghidorah look, but honestly, got sidelined as another filler villain. A lot of these guys are going to be down in filler villains. So why are you starting at Lightspeed and not Mighty Morphin Power Rangers? Because, Axel, I have not watched all of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers even back then. Lightspeed Rescue was one of my favorite shows, and I recently went on a binge watching it because I miss Lightspeed Rescue. It was one of my favorites. Plus, Lightspeed Rescue is also horror adjacent because they're fighting demons from hell. Alright, this one almost looks like Electro Skull. He has like all the weird wirings and the bone structure. Alright, let's knock off Captain Mitchell then. Captain Mitchell, going on to A. Yeah, who didn't like Captain Mitchell? He is the cool old guy. He is their mentor. He's their Ultra Magnus. He is their General Hawk. Captain Mitchell is kind of the true backbone of the Power Rangers. He's basically a general who funded the Lightspeed Rescue Rangers and assigned this team in the first place. He's kind of their voice of reason, their boss. He gives the assignments, gives the commands. He's their Zordon. General Vengeance. Ah, Kai-chan, yeah. Archie Cow was awesome. Lokai. Oh, you did say that one before. He's like the Rick Flag of Lightspeed Rescue. Yeah, pretty much. Captain Mitchell, basically the wise old man, the mentor, the guy they all look up to. Captain Mitchell, we find out, does have a past with Carter. So basically there's this backstory where Carter was rescued by a mysterious firefighter who saved his life. But the firefighter, his face was obscured by a gas mask. And this firefighter inspired Carter to become a true hero and a fireman like he was. This guy he looked up to and is basically his role model. And spoilers for anyone under the age of 5, Captain Mitchell was that firefighter. Yep, Captain Mitchell was a rookie firefighter, and he was the guy who saved Carter and influenced him. Captain Mitchell's kind of a father figure for Carter, and basically Captain Mitchell, he's the stern teacher, but slowly lightens up and cares for the Rangers like his family. Captain Mitchell, I do think is pretty awesome. Now, yes, he is no Zordon. He is not better than Zordon. Of course he's not. And honestly, not as good as some of the later Ranger mentors. I do think the Princess from Wild Force is pretty good and pretty inspirational. And Tommy from Dino Thunder, definitely an S tier, because of course Tommy is. Captain Mitchell, there's a fan theory that he's related to Billy Mitchell, the original Blue Ranger, which honestly I would buy. A lot of people were hoping he was Billy, but spoilers, that is disproven when Billy comes back in a later series. And I would buy that he's a relative of Billy Mitchell from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, but we never get confirmation and don't see that, basically play out later. Captain Mitchell, though, really awesome character. He is a badass. He is a good teacher. He is the compassionate leader. He's kind of like Optimus Prime personality-wise. He doesn't wear his emotions on his sleeves because he has to, be the tough guy. He has to be the commander, the inspiration for the Rangers. What got him on this list, though, is easily the finale. This is the first scene which actually made me really care for Captain Mitchell, the finale. Basically, the Aquabase gets invaded by the Batlings here. They infiltrate and destroy his life's work, hijack the Megazords, hijack their weapons, attack his staff, kill a lot of innocent people, and the Aquabase is falling apart, and Captain Mitchell finally breaks. He's there sitting solemnly silent, and it is a very heart-wrenching scene because his life's work, everything he built so hard for, is falling apart without him. No, falling apart around him. It's all breaking down, it's all going down to crapper, and Captain Mitchell is depressed because all he wanted to do was save people and help save the world, and the bad guys are basically winning and destroying his life's work. And honestly, this actually made me really feel for him, even back as a kitten, because it is a very heavy scene that all he wanted to do was bring good, and he worked so hard for this, only for the demons to basically raise some hell and destroy everything he worked so hard for. Eventually, Captain Mitchell snaps out of it because Dana finally has an emotional heart-to-heart with her dad, convinces him that they have to escape and he has more to live for, that being a hero matters, and it doesn't matter if you lose your base as long as you keep up the fight. Captain Mitchell gives in, and he helps the Rangers escape. They escape on a submarine, and yeah, basically the Rangers are the ones who actually save the day, but Captain Mitchell finally gets involved in the action and is out on the field. And yeah, really liked him. He's awesome. I'll put him on A. Really like the classic wise old mentor character, and Captain Mitchell, definitely one of them. He is a positive representation of rescue heroes for sure, and we'll put him on A. Not as great as Zordon, but hey, pretty not bad for a human. What about RJ? Also, I see the Power Rangers in the train designs, costume fight World War II generals like Sentai. Okay. I believe this guy might be... I'm trying to recognize where the Electro Skull guys... I know this guy is the weird Scarab dude. We'll put him onto D tier because, once again, a monster I don't remember. I believe he's the monster during the bus episode where there's a hijacking on the bus. That was a pretty weird episode, too. Allegedly, it almost got banned because Dana's riding a bus and almost gets hijacked by a gunman. I mean a real gunman, not a monster or any of the monsters disguised as humans. A robber rides the bus and he holds the bus hostage, and that was the more interesting story going on. Yeah, we'll put him on D because he kind of fell short and got outclassed by a robber. I think this is Trevel. This might be the guy you were talking about. Is that Trevel? Sorry, it's very hard. I gotta squint to look at who these guys are. Alright, we'll count this guy as Trevel because he's covered in tree roots. Alright, we'll put Trevel onto high C. Yeah, sorry, but he's another generic monster. Basically, Vipera's fine ass is on the line, being on the chopping block, basically, and Vipera summons Treevil, a magic tree monster, to raise some hell in Mariner Bay and assassinate those pesky Power Rangers, so Vipera can prove that she's of use to the Queen. Spoilers, this does not work, and Treevil gets killed. To Treevil's credit, he makes it to sea because he nearly succeeds at exterminating 4 of the Power Rangers, but the Pink Ranger finally breaks free. This is Dana's modeling career episode. Dana finally breaks off her modeling job and goes back and saves the day, and Treevil cannot handle all 5 Rangers, and the Pink leads the charge, killing him. Turns into a giant monster, and they blow him up again. Yeah, I'll put him on C because, to his credit, he did come close to killing 4 out of 5 Rangers, so that did win Treevil some points. Alright, gotta use the restroom, I know, but I'll be right back. You cast your vote on who you want to see next. BRB, please vote, Rangers. Okay, I'm back at the speed of Lightspeed. What'd you guys vote for? Okay, nothing. Yeah, sorry, kind of dwindling down the characters. I guess we'll go with the... I believe this guy is the Electro Skull guy. It looks like him. Alright, if it's not, we'll count him anyway. Alright, let's do Electro Skull, who we will put on B. Yeah, I'll put him under the plant guy. This, I believe, is Electro Skull. It's the electrocutioner type of villain. Basically, he's hired to assassinate those pesky Power Rangers. However, the Power Rangers have been replaced by Robot Rescue Rangers, and during his rampage, Electro Skull accidentally fries their circuits and turns the Robot Rescue Rangers evil, where the Robot Rescue Rangers kind of take over as the real villain. Yeah, it was played by Johnny C. Hike. Okay, thank you, Akira. So, the Electro Skull guy had a really cool power, which is why he's up here. He can shoot lightning rods at people. He, shoots spikes, and those attract electric lightning strikes. They strike and basically blow up. This hurts the Rangers really badly. To his credit, he did almost kill these Rangers until the Robot Rangers came. Then he fries the Robot Ranger systems. He would have been higher if he actually took control of the Robot Rangers, but no, he just turns them onto evil mode, because apparently that affected their evil good switch. So, the Robot Rangers were kind of the real villains of that episode. The Robot Rangers try to exterminate everything in sight, where the demorphed Rescue Rangers come to the rescue and defeat the Robot Rangers, and then once they're gone, they easily punk kill Electro Skull. So yeah, almost a good villain, but we'll put him on B. He's definitely got a lot more going on for him than these forgettable expendables. Alright, I think is this who I think it is? Is this the weird Arachnor guy? It almost looks like him. Yeah, sorry people, but some of these are very hard to define. Alright, I think this might be the Arachnor villain because it's got the spider eggs like here. Alright, so the Arachnor villain might put onto B. Yeah, the giant spider villain. I will put him above the Guardian. Okay, I think this is the giant spider monster. Basically, a giant spider monster is summoned, and the monster promises to eliminate the Rangers if, in exchange, it can have the babies eat food of the people living in Mariner Bay. And Diabolico, of course, agrees, gives him access, gives him all the backup he needs. Arachnor goes on a rampage, and this was a really cool episode. Arachnor is a total horror villain, basically a giant spider mutant, crawling around on webs, literally catching people spider style, and the Rangers are at one point trapped in a web with the baby slowly hatching, and the monster actually infiltrates the Aqua Base, which won a lot of points for it. This episode showed how many people fear that robots will take our jobs. Yeah, that was the Robot Rescue Rangers. That was definitely priceless. I heard the spider monster gave us a lost shoe scene with Fairweather. Yeah, Miss Fairweather and Captain Mitchell are also abducted, and Carter is the only one not caught in the web, and he finds Miss Fairweather's shoe, realizing that Arachnor used him and found it and invaded the base. Arachnor, honestly, pretty tough villain. I think this is Arachnor because it's got the spider eggs down low. It was like carrying this egg sack with them all episode, so yeah. I would say pretty effective one-shot villain, very high up there, and had one of the best, most inventive episodes of Lightspeed Rescue. If you're afraid of spiders, you will definitely be afraid of this beast, because yeah, very effective, and we do see real spiders crawling around the area. The whole Aqua Base looks like a xenomorph nest with webs everywhere. Very creepy villain. So yeah, this spider definitely got it going on. Really spun a good web. Alright, sorry, just trying to recognize a few more. Don't recognize who this guy is. I guess we'll put him on D. And I believe this was also another technology-like monster. Yeah, we'll put him on C. Don't remember you either. Alright, I guess you want to hear a character I do know. Let's finally talk about Jinxer. Jinxer, we will put onto A. Jinxer was actually a good comic relief villain. Jinxer is basically, at first, like the butler for the demons. Jinxer is the one trusted to basically nurture Impus before he becomes Olympius. Jinxer is this weird demon mosquito man. He's got like a mosquito nose, this goofy mustache, these weird Dr. Eggman goggles, and he has like, if you can't see, they're like insect wings on his back. Jinxer is actually pretty funny. I think he's pretty awesome. He's hilarious. He's goofy. He's surprisingly more deadly than given credit for. Jinxer actually does hatch good schemes once in a while, but it's a running gag that he kind of falls short or fumbles it in the end. So, Jinxer, to his credit, has a huge loyalty to the Queen and especially Olympius. When Olympius is a baby, Jinxer is pretty much the only one watching over him and raising him. Diabolical nearly murders Impus as an infant. He was about to stab him, but Jinxer interrupts him, and yeah, that was pretty cool. We almost got baby murder on the Power Rangers. And yes, Power Rangers doing baby murder is better because it's an actual villain doing it, and not like the Haunting Hour where we're supposed to sympathize with the baby murderer. But yeah, Jinxer pretty much raises Impus until he becomes an adult. When Olympius eventually fails, gets lost into hell, Jinxer opens the portal and basically frees him, almost helps Olympius kill the Rangers again, but Olympius epic fails and loses his star power, where Jinxer nurses Olympius back to health, and helps him in the finale ultimately rise to power once Diabolico goes AWOL and Loki and Vipra both die. Jinxer proves himself very deadly in the finale. He hypnotizes Captain Mitchell once, he summons the egg monster to find the egg, and in the finale he becomes the Queen's sole remaining loyal minion. He's the one who sets up basically the giant sacred stones. He brings like a Stonehenge to summon the Queen's Palace here, which will unleash hell upon Mariner Bay. And Jinxer actually hijacks a Megazord to do this, which is pretty cool. Hey Shadowlink, we're on Jinxer finally, talking about a good character, knocked off some one-shot characters. We did talk about Arachnor and Electro Skull, but now we're on Jinxer, the Butler Mosquito Man. Also, I know I missed Miss Fairweather, so to be honest, I used to hate her because how she always refused to date Joel, including that one memory episode, but after she agreed to go out with him, the hate stopped. Yeah. Okay, Joel had to earn her love, alright? That was kind of Miss Fairweather's beef with him. Yeah, we're on Jinxer right now, and Jinxer I'm putting into awesome because, surprisingly, very effective in the finale. Jinxer actually has a smart moment. Jinxer, you finally did something right. Thank you, my queen. Jinxer has this really goofy voice. He's the one who planted the battling card on the Megazord. After he was completely out of monster cards, he attaches a battling card onto the Megazord, which causes the Aqua Base's destruction once the battlings are unleashed. And Jinxer actually hijacks a Megazord himself, which was pretty awesome. He steals a Megazord, they plant a Stonehenge circle around Mariner Bay, which summons the Queen's Castle, and is triggering the ritual to open up the portal to Hell. However, Jinxer unfortunately gets an off-screen death, where Carter and Ryan show up flying basically one of their last space vehicles. They're like flying like this mini airplane, and Carter kamikazes into the Megazord, which kills Jinxer, and we don't see a body, so it led to fan theories that he's still alive. The Megazord died, but Jinxer could have still lived. It helps that in Super Sentai, his Sentai counterpart is still alive. Jinxer actually lives in the Japanese version, but in the Lightspeed Rescue, I'm pretty sure he's dead, but fans will argue he could still be alive. Yeah, Jinxer was played by Kim Strauss. Oh, he played him too. Okay, so, yeah, Jinxer I think is an underrated, a rare good comic relief villain, which, unfortunately, if you watch Ninja Storm, really started adding worse comic relief villains, but I would put him pretty high. He is awesome. He had an undying loyalty to Olympius, was a genuine threat in the finale, and definitely posed as a serious threat. So, he is pretty awesome. And yeah, fans, I will give hope that he's still alive somehow. Alright, just checking out the last few. I don't remember some of these guys, so it is kind of iffy before we get to the ones I do know. Alright, we'll put this weird-looking knight guy, we'll put him on C. I think I remember him. He was like the first killed by the V-sabers, their weird V-guns. They use the weird star beam, like V-lasers together, and they shoot him. He was like using a sword, and they use swords of their own. Yeah, you get the idea. Sorry, it's just hard to pinpoint some of these guys. This one almost looks familiar, but I think he was like a giant bat or something. Alright, we'll put him on to C, but don't worry, Akira, we'll put him on under Trevel. Trevel was pretty funny. And this guy is pretty much a recycled Ecliptor. He has, like, basically Ecliptor's weird-looking Rockman outfit, but they obviously painted over it. We'll put him on D, because you are no Ecliptor. Flower is there? Okay, which one is Flower? This guy or this guy? Yeah, we're finally narrowing down this list, getting rid of some of the one-shot monsters, because you know how I love to end things on a high note. Alright, so you guys waited. Let's talk about the last Power Ranger, the Titanium Ranger, Ryan Mitchell. Titanium Ranger going into S tier. This is one of the greatest 6th Rangers of all time. Surprisingly, much better than the Magna Defender ever was. Ryan, one of the best developed characters on the show, and actually an original character in Lightspeed Rescue. This character does not exist in Japan. This is the first 100% American-made Power Ranger, the Titanium Ranger. Flower there. Quakemon there. I think this is Quakemon. This one might be. Anyways, Titanium Ranger. Ryan, easily one of the best characters. One of the greatest 6 Rangers of all time. Ryan is the son of Captain Mitchell and Dana's brother. During a tragic car accident, Ryan almost died falling off a cliff. However, Diabolico made a deal with Captain Mitchell where he would save his son Ryan, and in exchange his soul would belong to him. Captain Mitchell reluctantly gave in and Ryan was saved. However, he was raised to be evil by Diabolico, who trained him to be an evil Power Ranger. Ryan steals the prototype Titanium Morpher and becomes the infamous Titanium Ranger. This guy is at first a villain, similar to the Magna Defender. He's against the Power Rangers and teams up with Vipra, Lokai, and Diabolico to assassinate the Rangers. However, we find out he's Captain Mitchell's long-lost son, and it leads to a redemption arc where Ryan undergoes this morally gray adventure, rediscovering his identity, finding out who he is, before he breaks free of Diabolico and becomes the heroic Titanium Ranger. The very first American-based Power Ranger. They definitely did the Titanium Ranger and Ryan's arc very well. Fully agree, Shadow Link. Ryan Mitchell is mostly an Argos of Power Rangers. Yeah, Ryan, awesome character. This is one of the best original concepts that the American show added. Basically, the Titanium Ranger turns good, helps defeat the evil trio here. After they nearly kill the Power Rangers, Ryan decides to listen to his father, realizes that Captain Mitchell's right, he was meant for something greater, becomes a hero, and we get one of my favorite arcs, the Curse of the Cobra arc. This was easily the highlight of the Titanium Ranger, his origin and his curse mark story. So, Ryan is cursed by Diabolico, who plants the Cobra tattoo on his back. Each time he morphs, the Cobra will move up higher and higher on his skin until it reaches his neck and will eventually bite and kill him. And yeah, it is a very intense scene and surprisingly scary and well done for a kid's show. Basically, Ryan has to reconsider his hero lifestyle. Every time he morphs and be's heroic, the Cobra moves up higher and higher, and Ryan eventually faces the Cobra monster, the mummy monster down low. I wish the mummy was on here. Was he on here? I don't see him. So he fights like the Cobra mummy, and Ryan wins, successfully conquering his inner demons and his literal demons, where he becomes the Titanium Ranger full time. Then, when Olympus shows up, Ryan goes basically elsewhere for a subplot, where we don't have to use Sentai footage with him inserted in it. Rhett Fisher played Ryan. So basically the Hercules tattoo and Record of Ragnarok. Sort of. So, unfortunately, the worst thing to say about the Titanium Ranger is he gets basically sidelined until the finale. When Olympus is unleashed, Ryan goes on a sabbatical to research the demons and how to stop them. He realizes that even with Diabolico gone, Queen Banshira is never going to stop. She's going to terrorize the entire world, and they have to figure out how to stop demons from hell, basically. Well, Corrigan is there. Okay, he is there. Alright. So basically, Ryan kind of comes in and out of the series. He goes to Egypt, discovers the tomb, is researching it, and finds out that they have to basically close this portal. And he doesn't get to become the Titanium Ranger again until the big epic finale. And yeah, it is pretty epic. The Titanium Ranger and Carter, Grayson, the best Red Ranger, double team and fight Queen Banshira's armada. And yeah, the Titanium Ranger is awesome. He is there in the finale. He basically gets upgraded to Carter's second in command, and this 6th Ranger has gone down in Power Rangers history as one of the best additions to the franchise. Who doesn't love Titanium Power? He is S tier for sure. I used the Power Ranger wiki. Okay, thank you, Akira. Glad you did. I don't have it open here because really it would have been awkward looking at the Ranger wiki and back. Alright, let's get rid of these two guys. I'll put them... put this guy on D, and I'll put this guy up on C, because why not? I don't remember them. They are one-shot villains. I'm sure they had some lines, but again, a lot of them were filler monsters to the real higher-up monsters. They are basically more expendable foot soldiers, fight the Rangers, get blown up, fight in giant monster battles, yada yada. Alright, let's talk about the good characters. This, if you don't recognize, is Trakina. Yes, Trakina in her ultimate monster form, Biollante. Yeah, it looks like Biollante from Godzilla. Alright, Trakina was the main villain of Lost Galaxy, so unfortunately, that is a whole nother story and character arc for another time. Basically, Trakina is the villain of Lost Galaxy. It turns out she survived and is the villain of the big epic crossover between the Lightspeed Rescue Rangers and the Lost Galaxy Rangers. Trakina is stealing the life force of a bunch of innocent people hiding out in this building, working with Queen Banshira in an uneasy alliance, basically. Yeah, other Power Rangers seasons did have better one-off monsters than others. Yeah, that's kind of true. These ones I don't recognize. Wild Force monsters, I recognize a lot more of them, and I'm rewatching Time Force. I do remember a lot of them, like Bricknet and Tentacool, so those will be much more fun to explore. Lightspeed Rescue, basically evil demons. So Trakina almost succeeds at basically repowering her ultimate final form, her sexy evil mantis form she got from the cocoon. Basically, she's trying to recreate that power. However, Queen Banshira and Olympius know Trakina's untrustworthy, where Olympius here throws a poison dagger at her, and it transforms her into this thing. The Sea Ranger monster with lightning is Shockatron. Okay, thank you for that. Okay, then I think I did get him right. All right, we'll put him on. We'll put him a bit higher then. No, a bit higher. Yeah, there we go. All right, so Trakina turns into this giant tentacle monster, which looks like Biollante and Destroya's bastard child. So she gets some points because this is Trakina. We'll put her on A. Yeah, we will put her on A. I know Trakina should be an S-tier monster, but we are judging her based off of her Lightspeed Rescue appearance, and basically this is her monster form only, so don't worry, the real Trakina would be here on S-tier. Her monster form, her final boss mode, definitely an A-tier. So basically she turns into this giant monster, forcing the Lightspeed Rescue Rangers and the Lost Galaxy Rangers to team up in a Megazord fight. And yeah, it is pretty cool seeing the Galactic Megazord and the Rescue Zords teaming up, combining the Lights of Orion empower the Megazord as one whole new Megazord, where we get to finally see the Galactic Rangers and Rescue Rangers in the same Megazord control room. I want to see other Power Ranger rankings. Yeah, you and a lot of other people, Akira. Sorry, Strikening. Okay, thank you. Like, I want to see Queen Banshira versus Emperor Madius, Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue versus Final Fantasy II in Death Battle. Trakina would be an S if this was Lost Galaxy. In Lightspeed, she doesn't do that much, but did have an epic fight with both the Galaxy and Lightspeed Rangers. Okay, so interesting, Amy Miller did not play Trakina again. They apparently screwed her over and kicked her off of the crossover because Amy Miller did not like the script and there was a salary dispute. And yeah, basically Amy Miller is not Trakina. Trakina is mostly wearing a mask. They write it off as, oh, it's from her injuries, like her face is deformed or something. So Trakina doesn't do as much. She's off-screen in her iconic costume. Then she mutates into this thing, and honestly, I thought it was creepy. This monster, very creepy. This gross, tentacle, destroyer-like monster. Trakina looks like a cross between basically a space monster and a demon, which makes sense because Trakina's actually an alien working with demons, so the hell magic crossed a few mutations onto her. Basically, this really epic Ranger Megazord fight, and I do like it. So, of course, the Lightspeed Rescue Rangers and the Galaxy Rangers win because they use the Lights of Orion, that plot device, to help power the Megazord, and they kill Trakina for good. Yep, Trakina's final dead. She is gone. She is punk killed. And that's the real end to Trakina. Until they want to bring her back next time like they brought Lord Zed. Anyways, Trakeena's monster form will put her onto A. The problem is she does not do much, and if this was a Lost Galaxy tier list, Trakeena would be on S tier, but this is her monster form and her crossover story, so we'll put her on A for now. Alright, gotta use the restroom one last time, but get excited for the Queen, ending this list on a high note. BRB, just be real quick. Enjoy the list. Alright, I'm back. Lightspeed ready. We're ending this list on one hell of a high note. The Queen of Hell, Queen Bansheera, who, you can guess, going on to S tier. Yes, Queen Bansheera is awesome. This is one of the scariest Power Rangers ever, and easily one of my favorite villains ever. Queen Bansheera traumatized my kittenhood. She was horrifying, she's monstrous, she's diabolico, more than Diabolico himself. This is one of the ultimate monstrous Power Ranger foes of all time. Queen Bansheera, basically Girl Satan. She's the Queen of Hell, the Queen of Demons, she's the ultimate endgame villain of Power Rangers, and one of my favorites. She is one of the greatest Power Ranger villains of all time. Yeah, Trakeena would be an S tier if this was Lost Galaxy. Diane Salinger is Queen Bansheera's actress. The voice actress did a very good job. She played Esther Cobblepot in Batman Returns. Oh, that was her? Okay. And a Sea Hagen Charmed. Jennifer Burns played Trakeena. Yeah, Amy Miller is the real Trakeena, okay? Jennifer just stood in for her on the crossover. Anyways, Queen Bansheera, total bad bitch. She is scary, she is awesome. This girl is the real bad guy of the demons. Queen Bansheera is the Queen of Hell. After the demon portal was unlocked, Queen Bansheera was exiled into space somehow. And she has a lot of alternate forms. We see Queen Bansheera as a scary soul at one point, and she slowly tries to regain her physical form, her final form. The entire story is basically padded out where Queen Bansheera is trying to return to her full physical peak. She's trying to revive her body, basically, and the demons are rebuilding her palace in Mariner Bay, but struggling to remove those pesky Power Rangers. Definitely one of the most evil main villains in Power Rangers, along with many like Lord Zed and Venjix. Yeah, Queen Bansheera, she is evil as hell, and that's why I kind of like her, because she is scary. Queen Bansheera does not give a crap about any of the other villains on this list, including her own subjects. Basically, the demons are all expendable pawns. They are footsteps for her to walk on. They are expendable losers who mean nothing to her. They do not have her respect. They are loyal to her, but she gives them nothing in turn. She allows them to live. And if they help her in her empire, she'll give them basically the perks of being an empire soldier. But when it comes down to it, she does not care about their lives. The main villain trio, Diabolico, Lokai, and Vipra basically pledge their allegiance to her, and all three of them are basically betrayed by her. This is a woman so evil, she did not care that her own son, Olympius, was trapped in hell. Her son got lost in hell, and basically she laughs. She laughs at her son being lost into hell because he failed her one too many times. That is how evil this bitch is. But what solidifies Queen Bansheera's S tier? Easily the finale. Queen Bansheera takes off the kitty gloves, goes all in, balls to the wall, wants the Rangers dead, and wants her Hell Palace now. She kills Vipra, sacrifices Loki, completely lets Diabolico go. She does not care about Diabolico or his feelings. He goes AWOL. Olympius comes crawling back to her, trying to get approval. Then, when he and Diabolico die, she puppets them as her final giant monster soldiers. They fail her. She almost would have killed Jinxer if he wasn't useful to her, and basically she raises absolute hell. The Ranger Aqua base is invaded, the city is attacked, she's rebuilding her palace, brings her temple to the center of town, and attacks Orion, nearly executes the Titanium Ranger if not for Carter intervening, and has the ultimate end goal to open the portal of hell and release every villain the Rangers ever killed, including Eye Guy. He is there too. Wants to open the portal of hell and unleash her demon army upon the world and bring hell on Earth, and that is what makes her so awesome. Basically a demon queen on Power Rangers. She wants to open the portal to hell, and that was awesome to kitten me, because Power Rangers fighting demons is awesome. Queen Bansheera gets her epic fight against the Rangers. As I said, Carter and the Queen both fall into the portal of hell. The Queen dies trying to take Carter with her, but Diabolico's soul arrives, and he shoots the bitch dead, sending her pummeling down to the bowels of hell, where she gets a gruesome and most satisfying death in Power Rangers history, where all the villains maul her to death and beat her ass. And yeah, very epic, very satisfying final death. Queen Bansheera is that villain who absolutely deserved all her suffering and her well-deserved fate. It is a brutal death and so satisfying. After all the tragic villains we got, it was pretty nice to see a good old-fashioned monstrous demon mother. Queen Bansheera, I really like. She is an S-tier monster to me and one of the most evil villains in Power Rangers history. She's up there next to Master Org and Lord Zed. Grand Witch Grandine, Super Sentai counterpart in Go-Go 5. Okay, that is her Japanese name. Like, this is why Beast Morphers should have Queen Bansheera than Goldar. Like, they have Ranger Archive with this in the Ranger database from past Rangers. Yeah, Power Rangers does a lot of clip shows, and honestly, I'm glad Queen Bansheera never came back, because she's lost in hell. She deserved it. Lord Zed at least had potential. Yep, we're done with Lightspeed Rescue. Did all the characters minus the mermaid. And I don't think the Snake Mummy got on here. If the Snake Mummy was on here, he would have been easily an A rank. I like that mummy. Bansheera's fate was similar to Daimao from Kaguya Ranger, in that both of them were sealed, not destroyed. Well, she was kind of mauled to death by those demons. And thanks, Cat. Yeah, okay. So, yep, this completes our tier list. We talked about all the iconic Ranger monsters and their heroes. So we'll go over it one last time in case you're new here. Okay, Ella Stomp, easily the worst villain by far. All he does is stomp around and grunt angrily. Doesn't even have a personality. He is the #1 worst monster. All these guys, pretty weak. They're just duds. Basically one-shot villains who didn't make a big impression. Speaking of which, C tier, slightly better one-shot villains. They won points because of major plot importance and cool designs. So they were definitely alright. B tier, got a lot of last string monsters down here. The ones that stood out to me are the Plant Monster and the Gatekeeper. Arachnor, really awesome. Really like the Arachnid monster. Triskull, really cool minion. Unfortunately, he got nerfed in the end. And Richard Epcar as the Cyclops, definitely one of the funnier villains. But Loki exists. He is not important in this series until literally his death. And tragically, the weakest hero is Dana, the Pink Ranger. Alright, so Dana is not the worst, but she's just generic. She's forgettable. This is easily one of the weaker Pink Rangers, mostly because she doesn't get to do much, and she had one episode where basically she's a bitch. She was easily outclassed by Jen next season, and Cronin Kendricks from Lost Galaxy are way better than her. Sorry, Dana fans, but she's just alright. Then, A tier. Love the trio, Demonite, Falcor, and Thunderon. They are easily the most threatening one-shot monsters. They were by far fun villain henchmen. And Trakeena's final form. Trakina definitely looked pretty cool as a monster. If this was Lost Galaxy, she would easily make S tier if we were judging Trakina or all the Ranger villains ever. Easily S tier, but we're judging based on Lightspeed Rescue, and we only got her monster form, so I'll put it on A. Definitely a worthy final boss, but Amy Miller deserved justice. There's something that bothers me about the female Rangers in the series. We've rarely seen any female Rangers wear sandals in their casual clothes. Well, I think Kelsey wore sandals at a beach scene. Alright, anyways, Miss Fairweather, awesome scientist. She made all the Ranger tech. She deserved a lot of points. And she rebuffed Joel's advances until the finale. So, yeah, girl's got her standards. The Batlings, really cool villain henchmen. I had so much fun with them, and easily what puts them high up here is the finale. They destroy the Aqua Base, so they deserve credit for that. Chad, the Blue Ranger. Another that's a kind of weak Ranger. I think he's okay. He has his moments. His romance with Marina was definitely cute, and I did like the episode with his sensei, but not one of my favorite Blue Rangers. I will still put him on awesome because he's a whale biologist. Jinxer, good comic relief henchman, really liked him, very delightful, very eccentric personality, and a really distinct design. Jinxer definitely won points, again, for the finale, where he helped cause the destruction of the Aqua Base, so we'll put him on A. Like, we need a Power Rangers show tier list. We should, but I haven't watched them all. Joel, definitely an underrated Green Ranger. He got the best character development where he goes from a juvenile jerk into a fully responsible, noble hero, and definitely earned his date with Miss Fairweather. Captain Mitchell, he's no Zordon, but do like the wise old guy mentor, and Captain Mitchell is definitely a positive role model for children and a good representation for rescue workers everywhere. He is definitely a father to his troops. And finally, the S tier. Alright, so controversial, but yeah, I love Vipra. She is one of my Power Ranger villain crushes. So yeah, my bias did shine through, but Vipra, definitely a hot minion, really kick-ass. Really interesting to see a Power Rangers take on Morgan Einsland. So she stays on S despite all the flame wars that'll definitely burn down this video. Kelsey, underrated Yellow Ranger. I like her because she's funny. She's entertaining, she's amusing, definitely badass too. Not the greatest Yellow Ranger of all time, but for this show, she is definitely one of the fun characters on screen. Olympius, underrated badass villain, really liked him, liked how he got his hands dirty, liked how he was in the forefront, in the front lines, trying to take down those Power Rangers. He definitely deserves as much respect as his former leader. Speaking of which, Diabolico. Yep, Diabolico is awesome. Really distinct Satan design, but what put him on this rank is that he has the best redemption arc and is the one who kills that bitch Queen Banshira. Definitely a great villain and a great redemption arc. The Titanium Ranger. Yep, the first all-American Power Ranger. The Titanium Ranger is great. He is one of the greatest 6 Rangers ever. Ryan's actor, definitely good. Had some of the best episodes in the series, and one of the coolest outfits. The Titanium Ranger is platinum. Queen Banshira, one of my favorite Ranger villains. She traumatized my childhood. She is badass, she is scary, she is no nonsense. Every time she's on screen, the mood darkens considerably, and she had one of the best final fights ever, and one of the most satisfying villain deaths ever. Queen Banshira, definitely in my top 5 Power Ranger villains. And last, number 1, which should come to no surprise to all you Rescue Rangers, is Carter Grayson, the Red Ranger. Yeah, this guy is the best character on the show. Carter is a badass. He is a noble hero. He is the Optimus Prime of Red Rangers. Carter is definitely all that. He is a sparkling example of a rescue hero. So yeah, that pretty much completes our list. Don't fuck with Carter Grayson. Exactly. Well, I'm gonna go watch Dino Fury, but I waited till you watch the other Ranger shows. Yeah, I'm currently watching Time Force right now, so if things go right, we might do a Time Force tier list. But yeah, if you guys want Power Ranger tier list, please tell me down low. Unfortunately, if you want me to talk about all the shows, we have not watched them all. That will take time. But if you want me to do like a character tier list like Lightspeed Rescue, I really liked Lightspeed Rescue and wanted to talk about it for the longest time, so this was definitely testing the waters. But yeah, if you haven't seen, this is my tier list. These are just one-shot monsters, so you could probably fit all the good characters up here. So yeah, that completes this tier list. If you guys want more Power Rangers, please tell me in the chat or in the comments down low. Thank you guys for joining us. I really liked this, and I love Lightspeed Rescue. It is one of my favorite Ranger shows and deserves a lot more respect. So I'm glad I finally shined some more light on it. Anyways, that completes our tier list. Thank you for joining us. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe, or just tune in for more videos posted here on Wolf Entertainment. I'm your host, Catastrophe, and I hope to see you Radical Rangers next time. Lightspeed Rescue.